Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to be doing another doll tournament, and today's theme is going to be formal. So if you are confused by that statement, understandable. If you haven't seen the other videos that I've been doing in this series, you might be a little bit like, what on earth do you mean? So this is a series of videos where I've been running like doll tournaments based on different common themes. So for example, we've done like pajama, winter, swim, just themes that are very, very common for doll lines that you'll see across many different brands. And then I sort that into a little tournament style bracket system, run a series of polls on my community tab so that you guys can decide who has done whatever theme we are looking at the best, like basically crowning a winner of whatever theme we are taking a look at. And today, as I said, we are going to be doing the formal theme. I do need to insert here, if you've been sort of like following along with this tournament series, there is a little bit of shopkeeping that I feel like I need to do. We're going to do that at the end of the video so that like if you don't care about the future of this series or like any of that explanation stuff, if you don't care about it, you can just like watch through the fun part and then not watch the end. But if you do care about it, I'll be addressing all of that at the end. Two things that I do want to say real quick up front though. If you saw, I did run a poll on my community tab about whether or not G1 of Monster High should be included for the formal line. And again, we'll discuss that a little bit more at the end. But that was very, very, very mixed results. Like it was so close to 50-50, it wasn't even funny. And so while I think technically speaking, having them not included did win, because it was such a close case, I did decide to include them in this video because the alternative was Rainbow High, and their like formal line that I was going to use was the runway line, which like is sort of formal, but not really in the same way that I wanted to have for this video, which brings me into my second point that I needed to bring up at the beginning. Formal was a weirdly hard line, like, or a weirdly hard theme to find lines for. Like in my head, there's 1,002 formal dolls, but so many of them are like one-offs or they sort of fit better into different themes. Like for example, my scene, really their most formal lines are like the Hollywood ones, but that was featured in the Hollywood tournament video. So like I wasn't going to do that again. So that was just kind of odd. Like I thought it was going to be a lot easier to find formal dolls for this tournament. It was a little tricky, but we managed to get there. So we have 6 contestants to take a look at today. So let's go ahead and introduce them before we get into the tournament proper and like all of the polls. So as I said, we are including G1 of Monster High in today's tournament, and the line that they had that was like the formal line is Dawn of the Dance. This is a very, very iconic line. Like, at least to me, like when I think of Monster High, this is one of the first lines that I think of, at least like for G1. It just feels, again, so iconic to me. The Cleo is like not necessarily my top Cleo. Like I don't think she's in my top 10, but I do think she looks good. Deuce looks solid. This Laguna is still a Grail doll. Like I adore her so much. I have this Claudine. I'm obsessed with her, like the lime green hair, the metallic heels. So good. Draculaura and Frankie, I can accept, are pretty solid dolls. They're not necessarily, again, my exact taste. Like I wouldn't want to own them, but I do still think they're well designed. And this Ghoulia gets like a special note because if you know me, you know that I don't really do well with zombies, period. So Ghoulia is never my favorite, but this is one of my favorite Ghoulias. Like even with my reservations, I think she's so pretty. So like great start when it comes to the contestants. I feel like these are all so strong. Then of course we have G3 of Monster High with their Monster Ball lineup. I do have 3 out of 4 of these dolls, so safe to say I think that these are another strong contender for the tournament. This Laguna was so funny because when she came out, I remember hating her so much. And then like the more I looked at her, the more I loved her. And now I have her in my collection and like she's just flawless. Every time I look at her, I adore that doll. Cleo is killing it as always. I don't have the Draculaura. I think she's cute. She wasn't hitting quite right for me, but I do still think she's cute. And then we have Claudine, who I do think most people would consider their favorite of this lineup with the sort of more tuxedo-inspired getup. Like, she does look absolutely incredible. And mine, I put her in braids. Y'all, it's not even funny. Like she is so good. So both showings for Monster High quite strong. Then we have Ever After High, and like when it comes to a formal line, first of all, they have a lot of lines that could be considered formal. I did debate using Throne Coming just because I do think that that fits maybe a little bit more into the like sort of promish vibes that a lot of the formal lines and dolls get. However, generally speaking, my rule has always been to use the first like line that fits a theme. So with swim, if doll line has like 3 different swim lines. I'll use the first one for the tournament. And Legacy Day did come before Throne Coming, and I still feel like even though this isn't, again, more of like that sort of prom like dance vibe that a lot of formal dolls do have, they're undeniably formal dolls. So we went ahead and used Legacy Day, and like I can't be mad about it because these dolls are so incredible. I do have this apple. I got her recently. I still need to show her off on the channel. Actually, that might be the next video that comes up. If I'm remembering my schedule correctly in my head, I think that's the next video that I'm going to be filming, is a little Ever After High haul where she gets to be featured. She's gorgeous. Like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. I think that doll is genuinely incredible. Then moving just like across the top row, Briar. Not a doll that I want to own personally, but I'm so glad that she exists from afar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like I need to spend my money on her, but her design is incredible. Then we have Ashlyn, who I also picked up and will also be featured in the little Ever After High haul. She's stunning to me. Like, she's just incredible. And this picture doesn't actually show it, but she does come with like a little cloak cape situation, which makes it even better. Insane. This Raven I think is okay. I love the cape. I like the accessories. I think I'm not a huge fan of the pants, mostly because there's like her purple sort of tunic top and then the purple pants. I don't know. It blends together a little bit oddly for me, but that's just me being nitpicky. Like, she still looks good. Then last two, Maddie. Maddie always looks good. Maddie's my favorite character from Ever After High, so I am a little bit biased. I love her in this one. The teabag bag is hilarious to me. And then we have Cerise. I will say I don't think that the high-low is doing the most for her just because of like the way that the fabric is printed. But aside from that, she looks fabulous. So, I mean, are we surprised that the like fairy tale princess themed line did a good job with a formal line? These are so cool. Next up is Bratz with Formal Funk. And y'all, the way I need these dolls to get reproductions, like, they're so good. To be fair, I am like very much Bratz focused right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like definitely in a heavy Bratz era, so that's not helping, but I think these dolls are just so incredible. They do have 2 different looks, so we'll look at both photos so you can see all of them, because of course I want to show you all of them. With this first one, Chloe in the all black. Of course I love it. It's a formal, like, fancy dress. It's all black. Duh. Then we have Sasha in this little teal number. Again, the 2-piece. So pretty. Like, this color is just so good on her, and I love the makeup that they went with. The Dana, the outfit is like, okay, this isn't my favorite outfit, but I do think the face is really pretty. Then we have Yasmin, and this is funny because, like, I know I've seen this dress before. Like, I have definitely stared at Bratz Formal Funk photos before and seen this dress and been like, ew, she's growing on me. She is growing on me heavy. And then lastly is Jade. And while I love this color and I love the sparkles of the top, the bottom of her dress is not quite what I want. But that brings us to the secondary outfits. I will say again, Jade's second outfit, like, just doesn't work for me. Honestly, that one might be the worst in my opinion, which is sad because I usually love Jade, but like, I cannot get behind that. Yasmin's second outfit, the purple is so pretty, especially how like dark and almost like more maroon tinged the top is. The color combination is just so good. Sasha in the gold, and me now. She looks fabulous. Like, I feel like the gold outfit on her really accentuates the highlights in her hair. Genuinely incredible. Chloe in the blue, another color combination that you just can't go wrong with. And then lastly, we have Dana. I'm pretty sure it's Dana. I'm going to be really embarrassed if it's not, and I'm just saying that with my whole ass chest. But I think this is Dana. Correct me if I'm wrong. I love this green. I feel like this is not a color that I see that often on dolls. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the most common because it's sort of more subdued. It's like a sage sort of green. And I love it. So needless to say, big fan of Formal Funk. Then for our last 2 contestants, sorry, I'm kind of yapping a little bit. The first is going to be the Hair Adorables Hairmazing Prom Perfect line, which might be like a slightly lesser known line. Not that like no one knows about this, okay? It's not like the depths of the Dolly iceberg, but like compared to Monster High, I feel like fewer people are aware of this line. And honestly, it's really, really solid. These dolls, generally speaking, are very, very stylized. So if you don't like the style, you're probably not going to like these. But I personally do think they're quite cute. I don't know anybody's names, so I do apologize for that. Just going left to right, we've got like sort of a little mermaid number on the first one. That one's okay. It's definitely not my favorite just because I feel like the fabric looks a little bit iffy. Then the secondary one feels very like ballet coded to me, and it's a lot. Not necessarily my favorite just for my personal aesthetics, but I do think the overskirt, the fabric with that is really, really cool. And just the idea of having like a leotard with an overskirt sort of situation does feel very different and striking for prom, or like a prom sort of line. So I do think that's quite fun. This middle one with the purple and green color scheme, kind of giving Claudine with the purple and green. I think I would love her if it weren't for the hashtag in her hair. I think that's another hashtag in her hair. I don't know. She's got hashtags on her earrings for sure. And then whatever's going on with the hair. I thought it was supposed to be a hashtag, but now I'm like, I don't know about that. Basically, I think the accessories are a miss, but other than that, I do think that this is a pretty well executed doll, which for me is saying a lot because these sequins are normally something that on this scale I find very grating, but I feel like she looks cool. The little floral one is one of my favorites. I think she looks so pretty. I'm a sucker for a good floral, and I really, really love the hair blend on her. It kind of vaguely reminds me of Laguna, especially with the big flower in her hair. Like that's just kind of Laguna coded to me. The green hair on the next girl, stunning. I love it. I actually, when I was in high school, had this hair color combo. I had like blue and green. What a throwback. And she has sort of like a jumpsuit with a sheer dress over it. That I think is very pretty. Like it's just, again, a little bit different. I feel like they really messed around with silhouettes and stuff with this line. And then the last one in this picture, because there are, surprise, two more dolls, is probably my favorite. The fishtail braid is like a little chunky because doll scale, it's hard to do, but I like the concept of it. And I love how these sequins are working for her. Like this is just sequins done right to me, where they definitely look a lot more like scales than just like sequins, like really, really obvious and cheapy looking. It's so pretty. And that extra lining with the pink, excellent, excellent call. But yeah, the two additional dolls here, we've got one that's like sort of a celestial situation, which I do think is really, really nice. And then perhaps the standout is their male doll, who I do know, like amongst people who collect boy dolls, is generally like a doll that people think is really, really well done. And I would have to agree, like a lot of boy dolls do not get the attention that they deserve. They kind of just like exist in a line. And I feel like he actually has style. He actually feels like some thought was put into him. I think the way that they've adapted the face sculpt to fit like a more stereotypically male look fits really well. The little details of it looks like shooting stars on his jacket so that he matches who I'm assuming is his date is really, really cute. It's subtle, but it's there. 10 out of 10. And then the last contestant for today is going to be Barbie Extra Fancy, which like is maybe or maybe not a line that should be included. You could definitely debate that, but I was running out of formal lines, okay? Like I needed someone to be in here. So we went with Barbie Extra Fancy because they're kind of formal, right? I don't know. I'm sorry. It was really weirdly hard to fill out the roster for this one. So the first one, Pink, I have thought about getting her so many times, and I never ended up getting her. At this point, I'm not going to, but like I was on the cusp for so long. So I feel like that says something. I honestly think the fabric is kind of fun. Like I can absolutely understand why that vinyl look would not be for everybody, but it is for me. Then the second one, I love this doll so much. Like the overskirt is kind of a lot. Like the vinyl overskirt for her, I do think it's a bit much. She is wearing a matching shirt and pants underneath, which I do think is a lot better. Like when I first got her, I was like, oh, I kind of like the skirt. More so now I'm like, I like the idea of it, but maybe not the execution. The shirt and pants is really good, but mostly, oh my God, the face and the hair on this one, this color of orange, I'm obsessed. And then the last one is also one that I debated getting several times over. I think that like the teddy bear is kind of funny. It's kind of just like a kitschy look, but kitschy done right for me personally. Honestly, what stopped me from getting this doll was the mitten gloves, which may be petty. And like, I understand that aside from painting on gloves, that's pretty much the only way to do it with dolls. I would rather paint on the gloves. I'm sorry. I hate the little mittens. They're so, I know I could take them off, but that's why I didn't buy her. But I still think she's cute. So, with the introductions out of the way, here is how I paired the dolls up for the first round of voting. Obviously, after the first round, I can't control anything that you guys decide to do, but for the first round, I do try to pair up the dolls fairly intentionally just so that at least the first round sort of feels fair. So, we did have Barbie Extra Fancy against the Hairmazing dolls at first. I just feel like they have the most similar aesthetics. Like, they're both very, very bright lines. They're both slightly more modern lines compared to some of the other ones. So, that just felt like a pair off that seemed, again, quite fair to me. Like, they feel like they're in a similar wheelhouse, so I felt okay pitting them against each other. We of course had to have Ever After High against G1 of Monster High because they're sister brands. It just has to happen to me. I don't know, like, that just feels so natural, which of course left Bratz Formal Funk against the G3 Monster High's Monster Ball, which is sort of a random pair up. Throughout these tournaments, I have mostly been pairing Bratz with my scene because they too are natural competitors and it just feels like the right thing to do. But again, my scene's not featuring in this tournament, so these two were kind of just the leftovers. Again, it's a little bit of an odd pairing, but that's just how things worked out. So, to get into the polls, the first one that we ran was Monster High Gen 1 against Ever After High, so Dawn of the Dance versus Legacy Day. As per usual with these, I did leave each poll up for 24 hours to try to give you guys enough time to respond without having it just be up and sitting there for ages. So 1.2 thousand of y'all voted, and 67% said that Legacy Day was better, which was really genuinely surprising to me. Like, I did not expect that. Mostly because, again, we'll be addressing this like a lot more at the end, but there has been some discussion throughout the tournament series about the impact of the nostalgia factor when it comes to G1 of Monster High. And also, like, because to me, Dawn of the Dance is so wildly iconic, like, it just feels like it's so up there in terms of G1 lines that I was really surprised that Ever After High won. In this case, though, I do fully agree. Like, I have, again, the Claudine, and I desperately want the Laguna from Dawn of the Dance. But other than that, I'm fine. Like, the others kind of feel just like to me. Whereas with Legacy Day, I have two of them. I want Maddie, so that means that I want three. And the others, I don't know, I just feel like they're a little bit more striking. The theme is just so on point. Again, fairy tales, big gowns, they go hand in hand. So while I was a little bit surprised by this win, especially because it's a really quite solid win, I totally agree, and I was really happy to get to see Ever After High move on to the second round. Second matchup of round one was Bratz Formal Funk against Monster High G3's Monster Ball. 1.2 thousand of y'all voted for this one, and it was another pretty solid win, this time for Bratz with 62% of the vote. And this is another one that I completely agree with. Like, I do love Monster Ball, okay? Don't get me wrong. I think that it's a really great line. Again, own 3 out of 4 of the dolls, so, like, obviously I really like them. There is just something about Bratz, and, like, again, I'm just so obsessed with Formal Funk as a lineup. I'm really into Bratz right now. But when I think formal lines, this is one of the first lines that I think of. Like, this was immediately, it's like, okay, you're doing a formal tournament, you're including Bratz. Like, it's just so instantaneous. It feels so synonymous with the idea of any sort of formal line for dolls. So, like, while I do love G3, and this is a hard pull in the sense that both of them I think are great lines, Formal Funk does just stand out a little bit more to me. Then when it comes to Barbie Extra Fancy versus the Hairmazing Prom Perfect dolls, I was really surprised by how close a race this was. Like, to be fair, these are both sort of wild cards in the sense that I don't necessarily think that Barbie Extra Fancy or Hairdorables have the strongest fan base. Barbie as a whole, obviously very strong fan base, very long-lasting fan base. But Barbie Extra Fancy, I feel like did kind of go under the radar. Like, people weren't super, super thrilled when those came out. So with basically two underdogs against each other, I guess it makes sense that this was close, but it was just like, oh wow, this is real close. So 920 of you guys voted, and this one was 46 to 54%, and just barely you guys thought that Hairmazing Prom Perfect was the better lineup, which overall, I do think I have to agree, which feels weird to say because I own one of the Barbie Extra Fancies and I thought about buying the other two. Whereas with Hairmazing, I really don't think that I would end up buying any of these dolls, but just as a whole, I do love how they're stylized. I think that the way that their faces are sculpted and everything is really fun. I think the boy doll is a huge, huge point to Hairmazing. Like, he really stands out. And just some of the fabrics and choices are definitely more interesting, I guess, in Hairmazing to me. So I think ultimately speaking, while maybe I like Barbie Extra Fancy slightly more, I do think that Hairmazing is a more interesting line. Like, I think visually speaking, there's just more things going on and like there's more different silhouettes and stuff. So I can't really be mad about this one. Honestly, I would have been fine with either of these going forward. And that brings us swiftly to the second round of this tournament, which is in fact an elimination round because only having 6 contestants, I didn't have enough to do like proper brackets all the way up. So I was, nice. I was warning you guys with this one. I was like, hey, this poll's different. So I asked you, which is the worst? So instead of which is the best, we're looking for which line are we eliminating? And then the other 2 are going to move forward. So this one, 1.5 thousand of you guys voted, and it was not even close. 74% of you said that Hairmazing Prom Perfect was the worst out of the 3 contestants. And I do have to agree. Like, not that they're bad. I truly don't think that those are bad dolls. But when you're putting them up against Ever After High's Legacy Day and Bratz's Formal Funk, like, there's no way they were gonna win. Like, that sounds so mean to say, but genuinely, like, of course they weren't gonna win. Those other 2 lines, I just feel like have so much detail. I mean, Bratz comes with 2 outfits. There's so much going on there. So yeah, I feel a little bit bad. I'm glad that they were able to make it to the second round because I do think that they're pretty interesting dolls, but Hairmazing definitely was the right choice to be kicked. But with them out of the way, that left just Ever After High's Legacy Day and Bratz's Formal Funk to compete for which had the best formal lineup. And this one, not close at all, which I was honestly quite surprised by. 1.3 thousand of you guys voted, and 75% of you agreed that Legacy Day was the better lineup, which, like, I'm genuinely shocked by. I would have been fine with either of these winning, just to be clear. Like, the Bratz dolls do have a hold on me at the moment, and I think they are such an iconic line. Like, Formal Funk does just look so good. Again, MGA reproductions, please. But Legacy Day is so full of detail. The theming is so on point. The outfits are just so gorgeous. So yeah, again, I would have been totally thrilled with either of these, but I will say I'm really happy that Ever After High got to take the win, just because I do feel like in some of the other tournaments they've been included in, they kind of get kicked early, either because maybe they didn't do so well in that theme. I'm thinking of the swim dolls, or just because they were up against a stronger lineup, like with the signature dolls. So it feels really cool for them to get to have the win, because I am also on an Ever After High kick, and I do think that these dolls are really, really gorgeous. So congratulations to Ever After High, big winners for today. You guys have decided that they have the best formal line. So you'll have to let me know in the comments if you agree with that, if your vote was outvoted or anything like that. But that brings us to the sort of, again, shopkeeping section of today's video. So I had said originally that this was going to be my last tournament style video. It seemed like you guys weren't necessarily loving it. And I do feel like there has just been discourse, which was not the point. Like, this was supposed to be a fun series of videos to do. It was not really supposed to be anything other than just like a silly little, oh, tee-hee, who did what best. But I definitely think that there has been some brand discourse, again, especially with G1 of Monster High, as I referenced before. Some people feel that G1 Monster High is winning or doing so well in so many of these polls because it was just that good. Some people are a little bit worried that it's just getting votes because it's G1 Monster High, and so it's always going to get votes because of nostalgia. There's like a lot of like debate with that, and I feel like it's just been growing throughout this tournament series. So that's not super, because it feels like it's getting a little bit, I can't really think of a good word, just unfun. Like, it's getting a little bit more catty and like a lot more almost like brand war or like generation war-ish than I ever wanted these to be. So here's my proposal, because I really love the tournament style videos. Like, I just think this concept for a video is super fun. I love getting you guys involved. I love seeing how your opinions differ or are similar to mine with these. So I would love to be able to continue it, but doing the different brands, as I just said, does feel like it's getting a little bit weird. And also I am like running out of themes that have enough brands that have done those themes for me to continue doing those videos. So please let me know, if you've watched this far in the video, if you would be interested in me doing tournaments within particular brands. So I'm thinking like I would do which is the best G1 Monster High line. So I'd ask you guys for submissions, whatever submissions get like the most amount of tallies, I guess you might say, then get to be in a bracket, and then we'll run polls. I hope that makes sense, that sort of thing. So we could do one for G1, we could do one for G3, Rainbow High, et cetera, et cetera. That way, instead of it being anything where it might be pitting a brand against a brand and getting a little bit iffy or weird, or like there might be outside influences that are affecting what's winning, it might be more of just, oh, what is the best of this brand? I don't know. I feel like that might be a fun way to continue with a little bit less of the divisiveness and just like have it be more of a fun thing. So please do let me know how you feel about that in the comments, because like, again, I still really like this idea and I would love to be able to continue doing these videos. I just think we might need to pivot a little bit, so please weigh in. But that's really going to be it for me for today, now that I have blabbed enough and done all of that jazz. Thank you for sticking through to the end if you didn't like quit after you found out who won the formal lineup, because you know your input is valuable and I do need people to answer my lingering questions. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for today, guys. I do hope you were able to enjoy. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night, whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.